Happy Tuesday again. Had a pretty easy day at the VTH today. Tomorrow's going to be rough. Would have normally been Doug's day, but he needs the day to take care of matters he needs to take care of that came up. And then back again on Thursday. I try my best to respond to things, reply to things. I don't get to everything. But something that's worth, taking a few minutes to respond to, reply to, I do it. And I've got to know some of you fairly well over a period of time. So it's a very easy conversation, But unfortunately, with the internet, commenting is like texting. You see the words, but you don't see the meaning, the intent behind it, and things can often be taken the wrong way, I've had that happen to me often, especially with my daughters. They like to text. I don't like to text. They'll text me on occasion. There was one situation that came up one time. We had plans to do something. And my daughter texted me, "Hey, Dad, what we're going to do this afternoon? Sorry, but I can't make it." Something came up. All I did was text back, "Yeah, okay." Just the way I'm saying it now. "Yeah, okay." A few minutes later, another text. Then she called me. "You mad?" I said, "No, why?" "Oh, you texted back, 'Yeah, okay.'" I said, "Yeah, we're saying, 'Yeah, okay.'" Now we're talking. We're hearing each other's voice. Things change. She said, "Oh, okay. The way you said, 'Yeah, okay,' I thought you were like, 'Yeah, okay.' Like you were mad at me." I said, "No, I'm not mad at you with Alicia. I know things come up." And everything worked out fine. So sometimes you don't really see the intent of how things are being said. You see the words without knowing the disposition, the demeanor, the attitude of the person that's typing those words. And something came up concerning NASCAR. I put something up on the community, I've always called it a redneck rodeo. I always will. To me, that's what it is. I think I spoke on this subject once before. I liked it when I was a kid, and somebody brought up a point and he said, "Well, yeah, now it sucks. And now, I avoid politics, religion, and social issues. I'll get into a little bit. And this goes to what I spoke about recently about how, politics and the social issues and causes, I don't believe they belong in sports. I don't want to be seeing slogans and this and that on helmets and on banners in fields and spray painted on the field. I don't, when I go to a sporting event, regardless of what it is, I don't want to hear about racism and all this other shit. Well, I think the only thing you don't hear anything about any of that in any sport is in hockey, because the only black thing on the ice is a puck. You know what I mean? See, I can find humor in anything. And he said something that kind of tied into it. He said, "Well, yeah, I used to like it. And then, until it got woke. Normally I don't bring those type of things into videos. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. It's here. Captain Caveman is getting itchy, let me tell you. And I know how he meant it. It wasn't to be derogatory, nothing he's saying. And I can understand why he would feel that way. I see it myself. But with me, NASCAR was far beyond that. This was happening. Now I got the fucking hiccups. This was happening long. Damn it. Mountain Dew. That'll take care of that. This was happening long before things started happening in our society, where people needed to come up with catchphrase words, and identify as, causes had to be fought. And to me, hey Joe, how you doing, by the way? This was from Joe, and Joe and I kind of know each other for a while. Good story to that. I'll tell you, I'll take a minute and tell you, since I shortchanged you this morning with a very short video, because kind of in a hurry to get to the VTH. Now I'm kind of wondering if I should talk about this. I might be fucking myself over and I won't have any content for tomorrow morning before I head off to the VTH. You know? Hope I'm not cutting my own throat here by doing this now. Let's just say that at one time Joe and I did not get along very well. He was my troll from hell. He was fucking relentless. He was part of Sanford's little cult. And then he kind of went away. But he was around for quite some time. And then one day he has a new account name. And he used to comment, "Hey Brian, you know who I am, but not by this name." I said, "What name?" Then he told me. I said, "Oh, it's kind of, I didn't know what to expect." And I tell you, man, you know, this guy did something that not many people would do. And I'm being very sincere when I say this. You say, "Listen, I just want to say I'm sorry. Yeah, I know, man. I trolled you like hell. I was part of Sanford's crew, you know. But then one day, you know, I kind of saw the light and I started realizing, you know, this Uncle Brian guy is fucking dead nuts right about Sanford. Everything he says about this Sanford is fucking true. This guy is a con man, a scammer, you know. He says, I just want to let you know I'm sorry. You know, if you want to block me, you know, I can't tell you what to. I said, "Nah, I won't block you, Joe," you know. Now he's fast staying 85, is it? I'm bad with some car years, Joe, so forgive me, okay? But anyway, and since then we've had some pretty interesting banter back and forth in a few areas. You know, when he brought that up, and it made me think about, you know, the path that NASCAR's taken. You know, I liked it in the old days. You had every manufacturer in there, you know. You had Pontiac, Olds, Buick, you know, Dodge, Plymouth. Even AMC got into the game like in the 70s, and you know, with their Javelin, and they had a Matador, I think, at one time as well. You know, and the cars were real stock cars. They were the real, you know, car, you know, what you could buy from a dealer. Then over the years, they became cookie-cutter cars. They were all the same, just different stickers on the front to represent whatever model they were supposed to be in. Then Buick went away. Well, Buick's still around for the public, you know, public production. But they were gone from NASCAR. Olds was gone. Pontiac was gone. Mopar disappeared. I think they came back for a brief period with a Magnum, was it? And then they had a Charger. And then they disappeared again. And now we're down to Chevy, Ford, and Toyota. And I left a little reply in that comment, Joe. You know, you probably saw it. So, you know, I'm actually surprised Nissan, Honda, you know, Lexus, Mercedes, BMW hasn't jumped into the game. It's down to 3 manufacturers. And even though they got a little better, now they have, what, a Camaro and a Mustang compared to more of a family car type, you know, versus the Monte Carlos, the Luminas. They kept the Camaros, you know, stuff like that out of NASCAR. The sports car models. And now the fronts kind of, they do look a lot more like the street car than they did before. They were all the same. Same, you know, they just put different stickers, you know, to make it look like a particular model of a car. But everybody was the same shape, style, everything. Same fucking cars. We had big boxy ass end. You've got a little better in that area. But, and to me, it's a fucking joke. And they've been trying to do everything they can for many years now to try to boost interest in it, because people have been losing interest in NASCAR for a very long time. Very long time, long before woke and anything. And they've tried every gimmick, you know. They even had that digger, that golfer, cartoon golfer jumping up out of the track to get interest from children. Hey, a NASCAR race on, I want to see Digger. You know what I mean? They pulled out all the stops. They got Danica Crash Patrick. I remember when she came along. Oh, a cute face, hard ass. Oh, yeah, she was a fucking joke. I do know people called her Danica Crash Patrick. And she was a gimmick. You know? It's that word they use, token. She was a token hot chick. Oh, she came from IndyCar. Oh, yes, she did, but she wasn't very successful. She won one race. I looked into it a long time ago, if I recall correctly. She won one race, and it was in Japan. And it was, what do they call it? an exhibition race. So all the big IndyCar teams and drivers stayed here. They were preparing for IndyCar race the following week. She went. And she competed. It was all no names. You know, I wouldn't even call them backup drivers and backup cars. The cars are even worse than that, and the drivers are even worse than backup drivers. And she won the race. That's her only win. And even that came because the leader of the race ran out of fuel like a few laps before the finish. And then she was like in third place, and then once again went into someone. And the second place guy ended up dropping out, and like by the last lap, you know, she was the only one left standing and won the race. That's how she won an IndyCar race. She comes to NASCAR. That's why they call her. She crashed out of almost every fucking race. You know, and it's kind of funny because it does remind me of a scene in that movie I had mentioned about car movies, how stupid they are, Days of Thunder. You know, Cruise is out there burning up laps, you know, lap times, and who was it, Robert Duvall said, yeah, he's fast. And, yeah, let's see how he does in a crowd. He gets out in a race, man, he's in the fucking wall, he's all over the fucking place, you know. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I saw my phone flash, a text, and I did have to respond. Now, in case there's something to do with the VTH. For tomorrow, it was somebody else, not that important, it can wait. I'll get back to her. Like with her, oh, she could go out, qualify good. Oh, people defended her. Oh, but she won a pole, and she finished 18th in the fucking race. A lot of races, DNF, did not finish. She was a fucking disaster on the track, and she was a real bitch. You know, I forget, a few drivers, she walked up and pushed them and slapped them, and knowing that a guy's not going to hit a girl back, she was a real fucking bitch. You know, like, they were supposed to let her win because she's a girl. But that was a way to get, I guess, maybe guys more attracted to a hot chick. Or maybe women interested, or maybe lesbians, or maybe both. Who the fuck knows? But anyway, she was a token hot chick. And she came into, I mean, you can't get much better than Hendrick Racing. Good team, good car, good team owner, good car, good crew. She had everything handed to her. And she was a disaster, was a failure. You know? Then this thing with, you know, Bubba Wallace came up. He became the token black guy. You know? And I could understand where Joe was coming from. And I felt the same way. When they had that noose at the garage stall. Oh, man, racism, 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 racism. Then they have him drive down pit row, and every team crew came out, and they were all saluting him, you know, supporting him. Go, yeah, Bubba, we're with you, Bubba. We're with you, Bubba. We're against racism, Bubba. We're against racism, Bubba. I cannot count in my lifetime how many of those fucking rope nooses I've seen on garage stall doors that people use to pull down. My friend to this day, Paul Service Center, we would go back to our racing days. He had that. I used to do a lot of work there. I was, in some ways, his father treated me more like a son than his own son, Paul. His father was a great guy. He passed away from cancer rather young, at like 60. And from the time I was a teenager, you know, I had keys to the place. That's why, in some ways, when I wanted to do things, I could go there, get my car up on a lift and whatnot. And I used to help him out there on weekends, you know. He didn't pay me, but I'd help him out with a little work around there, doing oil changes, this, that, the other thing. Fixing flat tires for people. You know, putting inspection stickers on cars, things like that. And in return, he let me use, you know, stall when I needed to. Most of the time, I did it at home. And I was talking with Will about this on the phone. We're on the phone for a while talking. Recently, last week. When I talked about, you know, in the winters when we did most of our work, and I didn't have a garage at home. It's in my father's fucking driveway. You know? I pulled heads because I was going to send them out to my friend Ray Charles, have them cut, have them ported, have the intake port matched. And I figured, well, it's a part. I was thinking about going to a roller camp. That's when it's a part, and I was a chance to do it. And it was fucking cold out in that fucking driveway, let me tell you. I would have done it at the garage. But he had a couple of cars in there over the weekend that were working off of customers. I'm not going to put a customer's car outside and bring my car in. No, I didn't touch customer cars and moving them in any way like that, you know. Well, except when for an inspection sticker to drive it into the bay. And that's another subject, too. Wow, see how the snowball grows? You know, Sanford, no license. Who was it pointed out to me? A lot of places, they don't give you a fucking job. Not even in a garage. You got to drive customers' cars in and out. They don't want to fucking hiccups, man. An employee that don't have a driver's license behind the wheel of anyone's car, especially a customer's car. You know, a lot of places you get hired, they want to know if you have a driver's license and if you have your own transportation. They know they can depend on you getting to work every day that you need to get to. So I got to get a ride. I got to take a bus. I got to take a taxi. Oh, it's late today. It's crowded. You know what I mean? Wow, I'm covering a lot of topics I wasn't planning on covering, but I'll get it all out now. Man, I'm really fucking myself for tomorrow. I'm not going to have any content. So anyway, you know, he had a rope. A lot of them had a rope, and you grab the rope to pull the big, you know, bay doors down. And the rope gets slippery and greasy and whatnot, and your hand's slipping. I can't count. He had it there. Like a fucking news swoop. It's easy to grab, and you just close the doors. They had to drag that social issue into NASCAR. He's their token black guy. Danica was their token hot chick. You know? He's really not that great. But, well, they make a big issue because he's black. And he's the guy, too, that, like I mentioned, Danica, and there are a few others, you know. That's why I find NASCAR a fucking joke. Race ends, you know, go over. So, Bubba, you had a great day running 15th. Yeah, well, you don't want to thank my team. And acting like they won a race, you finished fucking 15th. To get laughed out of any other fucking automotive sport. Even no reporter wanted to talk to you in Formula One. You know, IndyCar, IMSA. No reporter wanted to go talk to anybody that finished fucking 15th. Unless they were the world champion, defending champion, and something happened during the race. They got spun out, their car broke down, they had to come off for a few laps, get going, and even then it would be, wow, you had a good race going until that happened. Unfortunately, it put you back in 15th. You know, how's that going to hurt you in the points? Bubba was never in the running for any, you know, and then NASCAR, the chase, stage racing. NASCAR don't realize it's cutting its own throat. I know some real hardcore fucking NASCAR guys, and they don't like the chase. They don't like this stage racing. What do you mean the chase for the championship? Then only so many cars are allowed for the remainder of so many races. Only 10 cars. The rest of the cars don't even matter what they do. And I do know, I had one guy tell me, he was big into it. He says, you know, that's fucked up, man. I think it was in the first few years where he started this chase. Now they've extended it. First it was 10 cars, now it's up to 12 cars or 15 cars now out of like a 40-car field. You know, and even that's fucking ridiculous when they put 40 cars in a fucking half-mile track, almost nose, ass to tail all the way around the fucking track. I know, was it last weekend? I'm channel surfing. Dad, was it Xfinity Series? At the fucking LA Coliseum inside a fucking football. It was a fucking joke. It was a fucking joke. They're doing anything they can to attract viewership. You know, man, am I rambling and ranting or what, huh? And I'm covering a lot of topics here I had not planned on it. I am going to be so fucked tomorrow morning, I won't have any content. What am I going to do? They're pulling out all the stops. You know, you go out, and he told me, so, you know, I forget who the driver was. He mentioned a kind of well-known driver, like a Denny Hamlin or Kurt Busch, or one of the Bushes or Hamlin. Anyway, a driver that kind of like well-known. He says he was just right outside making the chase. And in the remaining races, he accumulated more points than the others. He would have won the championship. He would have won the championship. But he wasn't even allowed to even compete in the championship because he finished outside those top 10 in the chase. That's turned a lot of NASCAR fans off. You go out there, you fucking race. Oh, but it wasn't right because some guys already had the championship locked up 3/4 of the way through the season, so the remainder of the races didn't really matter for the other drivers. How do you think these drivers feel going into this fucking chase? You got a lot of remainder of the field, another 30-something cars. It don't mean shit for them. There's no benefit to them. They're getting locked out. What's the fucking difference? You know, to me, NASCAR's a joke. Yeah, I know. I even remember, I call it, you know, Redneck Rodeo. Let's face it, that's how it started. The Bama boys, good old Southern Bama boys, you know. You got Cale Yarborough and all them, you know. They'd be getting into fights in the fucking pits. This sucks, man. And I remember things already started changing with attitude. Jeff Gordon came along. They hated the fact he wasn't a fucking a good old Southern boy. He's from Indiana. They didn't like that. They didn't like when a guy like Kevin Harvick came along. They didn't like it when What's-His-Face came along there that won 7 fucking championships. He was Gordon's teammate for a while. What the fuck's his name? He got out of NASCAR. Now they say he bombed out in fucking IndyCar. What the fuck? You know who I'm talking about. Another California guy. Then you get all these people from other parts of the country getting into the sport. That pissed off a lot of fucking... Jeff Gordon was hated. They used to throw shit at his fucking car when he won a race. You know? He wasn't an Earnhardt. He wasn't a Yarborough. He wasn't a Petty. He wasn't one of the good old boys, you know? NASCAR's had its share of issues. They've had their share of gimmicks. They got their token hot white chick, you know, Danica Patrick. Cute face, hot ass, put her on TV anytime they can, you know, interview her after every race, even though she finishes dead last or she crashed out or finished 15th. They had to get her on TV for an interview. Same thing with Bubba Wallace. To me, I don't view this as a woke thing. I view this as a desperation thing for NASCAR. They're trying to hang on to whatever viewership they can. Whether they're black, white, gay, straight, young, old, they don't care. Their TV viewership is down. That's costing them money. They're not getting the big money from networks like they were at one time to show their races on TV. A lot of empty seats at races these days. A lot of empty seats. A lot's changed in NASCAR. I think, in a way, everything just runs its course. Regardless of some extenuating outside interfering circumstances, everything tends to just run its course, and popularity goes away. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a very gradual process, and NASCAR's been taking a hit for a good 20 years. A good 20 years. The cars people wanted to see, they're no longer seeing on the track. These cars are not being made anymore. It's very limited to Ford, Chevy, Toyota. Your Oldsmobile fans, your Buick fans, your Pontiac fans, your Mopar fans, your Dodge fans, your Plymouth fans, you know, your AMC fans, they're not too thrilled about seeing cars that they'd rather see the brand they prefer. They're no longer seeing. A lot's happened in NASCAR over a long period of time. Me personally, my opinion for what it's worth, I don't blame it on any type of social issue cause or woke or this or that. I don't blame it on anything, on any political or social issue reasoning. It's just running its course. And NASCAR is doing what it's doing. I don't think they're playing into a woke crowd. I think they're just acting on desperation, trying to attract any viewership they can. And when you do that, you try to make a lot of different people happy. Give them what they want to see. Tell them what they want to hear. They come with their hands out saying, welcome, friend. You know, anyone that comes at me calling me friend, hey, friend, with their hands out, I know they fucking want something from me. What NASCAR wants is your loyalty and your viewership, because it all translates to cha-ching, money. Yeah, no, I got that out of the way, and man, I probably should have shut the fuck up, because now I don't think I'm going to have anything to yak about tomorrow morning before I go back to the VTH. Wish me luck. Until then.